TGI, St. Patrick's Day. It is Friday. It is another day in the multiverse, and I hope wherever you are that it is a good one. As I go over here and I go over here and I say, all right, bus is now pulling out. Welcome aboard. You can use the seat belts. They're optional. In this bus, we try to allow as much freedom of thought, free thinking. Now, if you want to use seat belts, you can go ahead and use them. But just to let you know that, sometimes I do take sharp turns. But I always get us where we are. So that's the cool thing. And I hope that wherever you are, that it is how shall we say, nothing missing, nothing broken, be your ever-present reality. And that favor abounds in your life, and that you see you are the creator of that, of who and what you are. It really is true. Abracadabra, gonna reach out and grab you. So, I create what I speak. I mean, isn't that what the doctrine is that in the beginning, and somehow or another, this being spoke? There was an episode on young Sheldon where he was in the Baptist church down in, Eastern Texas. And the pastor said that in the beginning, God said, and, from a 6-year-old boy, you begin, I think he's like 8, 9 in that scene. And anyway, he said, well, you say that God is light. Well, then what you're saying is that God is a photon. Well, no. Well, that's what you said. And if God spoke, then that means there had to have been a device, a orifice, in which to means that he is breathing air, and somehow this air is being forced through tissue that causes a vibration that then is a disturbance in the force itself. I mean, that's what it says. Well, no, we're not talking about that. But anyway, welcome. If you're new here, we welcome you. And I think you'll find that this is some of the brightest, freest minds on the planet. I could be biased, but, so what? All of us are, to a degree, biased in our beliefs. Yeah. So anyway, how is it going? Kelly, how are you doing? Wheels on the bus? Yes, but our thinking goes beyond, the kindergarten reader, right? Yeah. Welcome. Mr. Floyd, what's up? Hey, Rennie, good to see you. Happy St. Patty's Day. Yeah. Odd how we as a species, we love to have events. I mean, our whole life, I've said it before, we are gods. And even the gods that we create, they hate boredom. I mean, boredom, you can ask an egregore, boredom sucks. What is the Steve Martin movie? What is that? The LA Story. And great movie. I mean, it's funny. And he puts on there, bored beyond belief, B. So, Jeffrey, Jargo, Troublesome, how are you? Deborah, how are you doing? Jeanette, good to see you. Hillard, how are you? Street Mom, Brenda, much love to you, darling. How are you doing? Mr. C, hello, S. Lee. Let's see, I think I seen Elderberry in here. And hey, Morning Star, what's up? Yeah. Paul Joe, how are you doing? Good to see you as well. Joyce, hello. Let's see, Robin, we ride the big bus. Yeah, this is where the big people get to go on. Yeah, we don't hand you a script. No, the only thing that we hand you is a blank piece of paper, and you can have all the colored and pencils or crayons you want. Create, Linda, how are you, my darling? Good to see you as well. Lost in space. Nina, what's up? Thinking about you. I saw the video posted that what we had done on Wednesday was over on JD's site. Yeah, getting good traction over there. Jargo, what's up? Good to see you. Robert V, I'll be sharing a panel this afternoon over on the Milky Way Soul Tribe channel with Mr. Robert V. And I believe there's going to be others on the panel talking about religion. Yeah. Sheesh, religion. Had enough of my religion. Isn't that true? Grace, what's up? Flight Risk, hello, how you doing? Just got your email. Got a couple, and be getting back to that. Yeah. I'm going to actually be seeing Terry and Charlie tomorrow, part of this Soul Tribe. Charlie made the sigil of prosperity that is right over there. Mm-hmm. So favor right back at you, brother. Favor abounds. That's all I got to say. So I want to address something before we get too much further down. The program knowledge, I mean, you have to ask yourself, is knowledge divided? Is there evil knowledge? Is there good knowledge? I had this discussion in my sleep because it's what I was thinking as I was about to enter in that next realm, that everything you and I base our core perceptions of self, of others, we usually go by that which we were taught, and those formative years, that's what they call them because it's true. It's literally molding us. We never really realize it until you get on the other side of the curve, how deep those roots really are, and how they're responsible, even in later in life, for our beliefs. And there are those who have very strong beliefs. I guess in the end, I guess the strongest belief would be you. And so when we approach the subject of gnosis, then as I was having the discussion with whoever was out there, I said, all my beliefs have been predicated and built upon someone else's words. I have even been so conditioned to only see that good is only in one particular light. That good does not exist outside that defined construct. When I left Christianity, it really became very clear that if you want to be really honest with yourself, is that I had no idea as to what I was supposed to be worshiping. It had gotten so distorted while I was within the religion itself that it became very difficult when questioned. Well, who told me there was a God? Who told me that this God was this way? And when you do the analysis on this, what you find out is that it is presented in such a manner that the narrative is controlled from the beginning to the end. And it does not allow for any questioning. Questioning is wrong. Questioning gets penalized, which tells me, well, then, all right, that's not a God that I want to be associated with. If I can't ask why without being slapped down, well, there's no benefit to that at all. And because I was very deep, as I said before, my background, we're going to have kind of like, the people have been saying, well, I want to hear a little bit more about your background. Years and years and years ago, I did a video on that whole my background. But today it's relevant because, I clearly see that if there was a mysticism side of Christianity, which there is, I mean, the Jewish heritage gives us the Kabbalistic approach, the mysticism of Judaism. It's deep. And that vein of thought permeated the birth of what we call today the occult, seeking contact with spirits on the other side. But yet, that is supposed to be shunned, but may I just simply provide you my point of view, then how do you contact God? And that's the exact process that it would entail. I mean, any relationship with a being higher than yourself or equal to yourself that is not in corporeal form, in this temporal reality, is making contact with a spirit. Now, the mysticism side that I was in, as many of you know, was, well, we believed what Paul wrote about, the gifts of the Holy Spirit. This whole concept of Holy Spirit is really relatively new. And the characteristics of this said Holy Spirit is one that if you apply the same foundation, the same structure, it would entail that would probably be the way that all spirits would in fact act and behave. The difference here, I mean, it's still spirit, right? Now, you can add the word holy to it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's still spirit. And it's interesting because, we're about to get into, and I think we're going to call it Demonology 101. I got to address a few things. I saw some comments, and Elderberry, I saw yours specifically, and I respect everyone in here. And I would never bring something that would counter my core presence. I don't worship a God. I got to tell you, and again, if there is this being that is framed within that, it's named Yahweh, I don't like Yahweh. I don't have anything to do with him, but and so here's the thing. I can't figure out why a god or goddess would want to be worshiped. You don't want your children worship you. You don't want your colleagues worshiping you. You don't want your friends worshiping you. I mean, it's the epitome of egotism. I mean, it's a mega maniac, ego. And so if we carry that forward, well, I mean, my idea is I can't define that which I do not know. Now, people will say, well, you just don't know who God is. Well, you're right on that, because there's many of them. Now, you may say there's only one. That's your opinion. You can't prove it, and I can't disprove it. And I'm cool with that. Again, if there is this supreme consciousness out there, I think it would abhor the very thought of so-called worshipers, because it certainly hasn't really benefited our species. It divides us. It separates us. And that seems to be the primary agenda. Always keep us distracted. Always keep us divided. Even on the smallest of things. Division. Division. And it hasn't done us at all. You know, Alexander the Great was an interesting young man. His template of his life was patterned after Jesus, or Jesus was patterned after that. Alexander conquered the known, what we would call Eastern and Western world. And one of the reasons why he was so successful at such a young age, he died at the 33, so the story goes, was that he was all-inclusive. He had a core belief of a higher pantheon of beings, but his attitude is that, hey, you know, if you worship that tree, that's cool. You know, bring yourself and your tree and worship all you want. Yeah, it's cool. You can easily live amongst all of us here because, well, and it's not that we're, you know, agnostics or, you know, monotheist, polytheist, non-theist. It's just that I can't see the evidence of the current construct being, and we live within this illusion. It distracts us all the time. That's the goal. Today, we used to have a time for humans where there was truly quiet time. I mean, there wasn't electricity, wasn't radio, damn sure wasn't streaming, and humans had the ability to be quiet, inside and out. We don't have that time. We're surrounded in an electromagnetic soup we call Wi-Fi. You know, 5G. Now Infinity is saying they got 10G. The vast majority of humans today, they have no quiet time. It's almost impossible. By the way, Lauren, darling, have a good adventure off to New Zealand. Far out. Follow your heart, darling. Follow your heart. So, hey, Chloe, what's up? Seriously, Chloe, I want you to email me so we can get you a time on there. And I'm coming to a point to all this. So in my opinion, my humbled opinion, I saw some of what I would call that supernatural thing displayed when the glory cloud came down. It's called the Shekinah glory. It's a physical cloud that will literally encompass a group, a building. And I only saw it once. There's others who have been in that presence. You can't stand up. It forces you down. There have been stories written of others. Smith Wigglesworth is one I recall. He had the ability to manifest this thing, this cloud. And those who were caught in its presence, every person had to leave. They couldn't take it. Smith Wigglesworth was quoted to saying that he was actually felt like he was almost in a spear that, that presence. So what's going on there? Is that real? Is that manifested by our thoughts? The time I saw we call it the angelic being. I mean, up at the church that I went to at that time, other people within the audience saw the same being. What's going on? I've seen where the worship was so intense, and particularly when the congregation would start singing in the spirit. Interesting manifestations. What was happening there? Well, it really comes down to the fact that we were unknowingly, because when you start speaking and singing in the spirit in tongues, it's wow, the angels start singing. I did a program a couple of years ago with the actual recording of some of these events, and you will hear many times people are singing in tongues, and it's no different than the Hebrew alphabet. It's the unction of the Hebrew words that it opens portals. There was a bridge that was opened, and what we saw was an existence that we interpreted as being God, associated with God. And I think I'm fine with that interpretation. I think it goes a little deeper than that, because here's the thing. Not everybody there that witnessed what was taking place before a large group saw what the group was seeing. Some said they felt a presence, they felt a heaviness. So my point to that is, if you want to talk about the supernatural, the paranormal, that's the paranormal. And it's very evident that there are these beings that thrive in that frequency. Because unless that frequency is being generated by the human soul or the human spirit, those portals can't be opened. But when they do, it's always within these parameters. My whole point to this is that when we get in that, that point of view, well, then that's holy. Now, there's some in Christianity, Christendom today, that would say that that's of the devil. People speaking in tongues, that is not of God, that's not of Jesus. Jesus never said to speak in tongues, and the doctrine of Paul is false, because that proves that Paul was fallible. And that's getting deep in the theology, but it's important here because for me, you're immediately told that there's an enemy. There's an opposing force to this force. And you're told that this force is the good force. It's the light. And that this force, well, that's the darkness. That's bad. Bad. Very, very bad. And don't you dare deviate from the light to go look into the darkness. It's bad. Very bad. That's what they teach us. And so you build up a perception of fear. We have the angel cards. Mostly, I got your message as well. All right, so that's that. I introduced that in the book, The 72 Angels of Magick. It's certainly not Christian. But then again, neither was Jesus. Jesus never was a Christian. I think if the dude ever really lived, he'd get pissed off, man. He'd say, "What the hell are you? Hey, I'm just stating the facts." But let's continue on the road. And if you need a rest stop, just let me know. Hey, Scotty boy. And that is the thing when you tell Christians, well, Jesus was never a Christian. You made him a Christian, but he was never a Christian. And again, he never said that, never taught what this Holy Spirit thing was all about. You got some dude out there who had this encounter with an alien. There's someone had to admit to me in an email recently, well, you're right. If you go by the story, then the Savior is a hybrid. I didn't write the script. But getting back to the point of all this. So, because when we talk about Demonology 101, we got to know, well, what the hell are we getting into? So we got to establish at least a foundation of which we can say, okay, this is how we're going to navigate this thing. So the idea of evil spirits dates back prior to Judaism. It's very evident that there seems to be a realm which was a cause of effect because of this realm. Now, I don't know how you define a good guy or bad guy in that realm. I mean, listen, I know the book. I've challenged everyone. Are you telling me the New Testament God is the Old Testament God? Because that Old Testament God, he's a son of a bitch. I mean, they don't value human life very, very much. They'll slay you in a second. Now, maybe it's just me. I'm a simple guy, but that don't sound like someone that I'd like to meet. Knowing that they had the propensity to slay humans. Now, we've made up the story of supposedly the other side, but I can't find any writings to that. Can't find any evidence in any culture of that. So going into meeting these names, because that's what they are, they're names. And apparently there is a trait and a characteristic assigned to them. That's fine. You see, I believe that you can't go into a biased position. If you're going to come to the conference room and sit down at the table, then you've got to leave your ego outside the door. Now, there has to be an understanding. There's going to be no sacrificing of any kind. If it's talked about, that's one thing. That's fine. I can take you to the Old Testament and show you all the blood sacrificing you want. Now, I want to ask you specifically, how is that any different if it's emulated on the other side? Tell me, how is that any different? And don't tell me, well, that's way back then. No. Not letting you off that easy. Tell me how, if one God named Yahweh demanded the blood sacrificing of thousands of bulls, thousands of humans, maybe millions, probably more than that. Why is that allowed to be acceptable when if you talk about Azel, who may require such a thing? Now you can say, well, we don't do that in this day and age. There are laws. Not everywhere. I don't know, your extent of religion and practices, but what is it? Centimarianism? Many a chicken has been sacrificed in that belief. But of course, you like your fried chicken. So what's the difference if a chicken is its head being chopped off, which is going to be consumed by the humans anyway, if while you're doing at you see where I'm saying? See where I'm going? Now, I completely get the idea that they're already branded as bad guys because they may exist in a different type of light. It's not darkness, ladies and gentlemen, in the sense of what we have been taught darkness is. Darkness is the natural state and the order of the universe. It is light that's the artificial construct. Again, trying to set the foundation of how we go in here and approach this knowledge, because not everybody is out there at 3 o'clock in the morning performing spells and rituals. It's just not the normal thing that you see neighborhoods doing. I see the Smiths over there. Yeah, they got a sacrifice going. What are they sacrificing tonight? Oh, is that a bull? I mean, Yoda says, without light, you can't see anything. Well, again, you're defining light in a spectrum of what your optical nerve can pick up, Yoda. That's what I'm challenging you on this thing. If you're telling me that there is a different sight with the spirit, then why would I be limited to an optic that gives me only 3% of the visible spectrum, whereas in the spirit, what, am I going to be blinded over there? That's my whole point. Darkness is not what you think darkness is. If you have thought in darkness, there's light. It's the reaction of thought itself. And what is perceived to be darkness is not to be feared. It's substance. It's what you create out of. And if there are beings that exist within this darkness, then I say, hey, Mary, how you doing, darling? I say better to meet them here than to wait until your sorry ass is over there. Just using that as a nomenclature, nothing specific. I mean, if these beings exist, Again, where would you prefer to meeting? Would you like to come into the conference room and where we're sitting around the table and meet their introduction? No one says you have to do anything about this, but my point is, how would you learn otherwise? Where would you find someone and the authenticity of all this is that these are individuals that not only talk the talk, they walk the talk. Okay. I mean, I don't understand if you reject it summarily, the knowledge, the practices, without ever hearing, I don't get how you think that you're getting balanced in this. Because I think I have a good enough argument that the current construct, it's breaking down. Something's wrong here. I mean, if this is the accumulation of nearly 2,000 years of a belief system, something's wrong. It's like a political campaign. Well, now that I got busted you, now you're saying, oh, well, no, it ain't my fault now. Now it's those. And don't you dare go over there and interact with them over there, because they're just going to lie to you. They're going to deceive you. While they'll just do terrible things to you. Well, says who? Well, I don't. It's what it's what everybody knows that. Well, who's everybody? So I think it's a wonderful opportunity to meet these beings. I have no doubt they exist. There is a hierarchy that exists. I've known about it. If you ever are a Bible student, in Ephesians, it gives you the structure. Try reading Ephesians 6. Know exactly what the hierarchy is. So this is not foreign to me. It's like, okay, yeah. But the more I look back on Paul's teachings, the more I'm saying, that dude knew the occult and weaved the occult within his writings. It's amazing how you pick up on that and you're going, yeah. So that's all I'm trying to say. And if it's not your cup of tea, far out. I mean, I really get that. But then again, I think ignorance is darkness. I think ignorance is the darkest of darknesses that there is. We're going to continue with ghost land, but you don't want to end up in ignorant land. No one knows what they're talking about. Sounds a lot like this today, doesn't this time? I've seen that, Joshua, of the... Now, it's interesting. Why did we think it's the fallen angel? I've seen the article and I looked at it. Why isn't that an angel? Why would it be a fallen angel? But again, today it's so easily to be deceived. It's an interesting thing about technology. Technology is the biggest deception that has ever entrapped mankind. And boy, we are stuck to the flypaper. There ain't no getting off this stuff. I mean, it's like, I remember the time I was walking in Cocoa Beach in Florida, and holy crap, the tar balls. What a pain in the ass that was to get off. Makes you don't want to go walk on the beach again. I mean, what a bummer. I'm going to have to go back and read some of these, the comments in here, because I love this group. Like I said, I'm just trying to pave the way. I think we'll probably get it going here in the next week or so, and get with JD and Nina and Eric. I think it's going to be interesting, and it's a point of view. I mean, I've already put out there. I mean, the book that Anton LaVey wrote, the Satanic Bible, it gives you more insight into the fact that this is a chess game. It's a matter of, black and white or black and red. And all you have to do is any study, and there is no being known as Lucifer. We know exactly how it came about. We know exactly who did it. But yet, today, it's as real and alive as all. And let me just say and put this out there. If you believe in this whole fallen angels and demons, then you're a Christian, all right? Because and if you say you're not, then explain to me, then why are you have this perception that these guys are the good guys, the Jewish God guys, because that's what you're saying. You're saying that if you have an angel, then it's tied to Yahweh. What are you afraid of? Yahweh's got enemies. They've got lots of enemies. You might want to talk to some of those enemies and find out maybe their side of the story. Find out if in fact that this existence, this realm that awaits us all, that apparently we're recruits, if it exists in the next plane, it's just me. But I think you would want to know, because let's just say I could pull anyone out of here. John. And if you're John, I may not be talking about your John, but there was a terrible rumor someone started about John. No one ever went to John and got his side of the thing. But as the rumor persisted, it grew. And then it got written about, but no one ever went to John and asked him about it, but it was continued to be built upon to one day it was enacted into laws, but no one ever talked to John. It's just that simple. Thank you, Mr. C. I read that. So anyway, folks, I didn't have the intent on spending it, but I just want to prepare everyone. And you can't enter into these things with fear. It just ain't really the right way to approach it. I mean, if you're going to go out and have a ghost hunt, if you've got fear in the group, I guarantee you're going to find something. I mean, that's like, to the spirit realm, that's like, shots of tequila. Oh man, we got the fear coming. All right. I hope they aged it really good. Growing up on the street, it teaches you a lot. And the lessons that I learned when I was awarded the state at Burnett Balin, which was it was a state home run by the county for abused children. And, I had always been in this thing where there was the fear was the tool of punishment. It was fear. The physical beatings, yeah, they hurt and what have you, but it was the fear It was always the anticipation, the worry that, you didn't do something right. And when you're in a home, like I was in this case, you have a lot of broken children. That's what it is. Even the book of Proverbs says, do not break the spirit of a child. You break the child's spirit, you've damaged that spirit for the rest of its existence through here. Mr. C, why do we even want to control the masses? That's the problem. We've been told that there is this control thing, but in the end, I keep only to see humans in the equation. But in any case, you learn something. And when you're living with that many broken children, violence is always going to be ever present. But I also learned something in that environment: loyalty. And the good thing was that at that young age, I hadn't really formed any definitive thoughts. And there were lessons I've learned in that environment that it benefited the rest of my life. My point is, if there had been another reality where I never experienced that, who would have known? So we're going to get into it. We're going to find out about these beings. And, the question is why? I mean, I have a list of questions. It's like, tell me your side of the story. I want to know, all right, how did this battle start? Who created you? Are you a creation? Or is it what the book of Enoch says? Are you, in fact, the bastard product of a species, a subspecies? That's what it says. Is that why you're bound to Earth? What's the problem here that you have with humans? I heard this side of the story. What's yours? What's your beef about us? Is it what we've heard? Is it the fact that you're over here just to somehow capture us? I mean, is that your MO? Why? I mean, this is the approach. I want to hear exactly what they do. I want to know exactly why they do what they do. That hoodoo, voodoo, the thing that you do. Yeah. I want to, if the way I kind of look at it, here's the straight story. If there's a Lucifer or a Satan, then think about this. The personality profile that we've been given, this cat would love to come in and do a primetime interview. As I said, I'd love to be the first human to actually conduct a real live interview with Lucifer or with Satan. I mean, if they're both one and the same, I'd like to get that straight. Have a, human to whatever the hell they are conversation. Think about it. I mean, if we've got this whole perception built around this one construct, I'm saying that it's time to take the blinders off. Let's find out. If you find it to be repulsive, I can appreciate that. I find communion to be rather repulsive as I think back on it now. How is that any different? You got billions of people who are emulating cannibalism, drinking the blood, eating the flesh. And you're worried about us introducing the people to a demon? Maybe you ought to explain to me how you see that rational and this irrational. I mean, we're all big kids here. We love one another. I mean, I'm just talking amongst the friends. I mean, how is it? And that's what I meditate on. How is this acceptable? Yet the fear has been placed over here as something that is gory or something that's spooky, or, tell you what, I wouldn't walk into a church that was serving communion. I'd get the hell out of there. That's just my opinion. And I did. We're just talking here, amongst friends. So I am open to listen. I don't have to accept. I don't have to believe. I damn sure don't have to participate. But if I'm truly a God, if I'm truly a spirit being, then I got an obligation to myself to find this out. Because I've certainly seen the other side of the reality. Again, it's just a matter of a point of view. That's all I got to say about that. No disrespect. Everyone worships and does their thing. That's cool. But I also, when I have the same responsibility to self. Now, my bookshelves are filled with the occult. I know many of these beings. I've read their, if you want to call it, their rap sheet. And I got to tell you, the rituals that I have seen in there, I have to take that as that's the Blu-ray with commentary, the director's cut. I don't have to participate this, but I do like to read the front of it. And what I have found of these beings so far, I haven't found anything egregious. I have found that respect seems to carry over, as they would say. So we'll show them respect, but that respect has to be reciprocated as well. Okay. So that was what I was going to talk about for 5 minutes. I guess it needed it. Robin says, Wayne, don't let the door kick them. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Anyway. So happy St. Patrick's Day, isn't it weird? So we celebrate the saint who apparently drove the snakes out of Ireland, but the snake was revered and worshipped in Ireland as wisdom associated with the goddess. So St. Patrick drives the wisdom out. And how do they celebrate? By getting drunk. And you got to drink everything green because, green is it's a color that draws, they say it's the lucky color. It draws luck, perfects luck. So they say, but luck is only as luck as if you believe it to be luck. I mean, you can say that, well, I don't really believe that luck. Well, that's all right. That you can luck out, or luck in, Rennie, you're right. They do. The snakes keep the rats down. I mean, I never saw a population die from a plague from a snake. Seen many of them through the mice, the rats, and what have you. Yeah. Poor snake. Now, if you live down in Florida, why? Holy crap. That situation down there, that's a problem. I mean, that is a freaking problem. And it appears that those monsters are migrating more north and spreading out. Holy crap. I mean, that to me is more scarier than sitting down and being introduced to any demon. I'm just saying, I mean, I don't mind snakes, but when they're, 12, 15, 20 feet long, nope. I may not be the sharpest tack in the box, but I'll guarantee you this, I get the point real quick. It's just crazy. How many of you have seen that down there with the pythons? And now they've interbreeded with a reticulated python. I mean, and now they've got a new subspecies of the species, and there's now evidence that the freaking anacondas are there. Well, those only get up to 60 feet. No big deal, right? They can't find any more natural habitat. And now these things are smart. Now that they've gotten all the ground food, apparently, they climb. They climb trees. And they'll get up in the tree and try to get to the birds, or if they see something on the ground, they'll... No freaking way. Nope. Gotta tell you. That ain't it. No. Nope. All right, everybody. Jeffrey, I don't know what you said about Ireland, but I'll go back and take a look at it again. Yeah. Folks, it is a delight to come here each day. Thank you for the opportunity, the privilege, and the joy of just being able to sit and converse and learn. And that's what it's about. Check out Robert's channel, Milky Way Soul Tribe. It's at 4 my time, so you figure out where you sit in the time spectrum, because that's proof that we all live in an imaginary realm where we say, well, that's one zone, this is this zone. So technically we're talking time travel. Yeah, no. Grace, thank you. Thank you, Grace. I appreciate that, dear. I really do. I just want to set what everyone's expectations are. I saw it getting a little worrisome there with some people, and calm down. It's all right. It's just going to a class, and if you don't want to take the class, don't take the class. If you want to find out a little bit more, come on. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Jeffrey. That's very kind of you. Lost in Pitt and Mary Wins, much love to you, darling, as well. And Marcia, thank you for the email. Love the 70s. Lost in Space, have an awesome weekend. Donna, thank you. Gonna drink some green tea. That's my point. I can get into that. I mean, it's just the beer. I mean, never was a drinker, but I don't know. The idea of drinking beer at 6 a.m. Holy crap. Show me where the couch is. Do we need to email you, Wayne? You can do what, yeah. I'm not sure what that's about, but always love reading that. No farting on the buses, John Price says. Well, the windows do open. That's all I got to say, folks. It has been a delight. it's fun to be here. It's never, like, crap, what are we going to talk about today? It's like, well, we can't talk all about everything, so let's find out one thing, but yeah. And we got some good papers that have been sent, and we'll continue to get with Ghostland. More truth of that than what I'm finding, as you just hear things, you're going, yeah, I read that somewhere. All right, to all you 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, everybody. Much love to you. See ya, as they would say in cowboy land. Happy trails until we meet again.